Hey there, welcome to episode 100 of Girl Take the Lead, where each week we explore womanhood and leadership. And I'm your host, Yo Canny. So, wow, 100 episodes. Can you believe it? When I mentioned this to Kiki, my Gen Z daughter, that we were coming upon this number of episodes, she asked, "What are you going to do for that episode, Mom?" I said, "I don't think anything special." And she said, "Oh, Mom, you got to do something special." So I let it cook for a while, and after recording episode 98 with Millie, it was totally clear. Episode 100 should take the form of a heartfelt letter. This letter is addressed to two cherished recipients, my daughters Kiki and Emma, and to you, my dear listener. Within its pages, I share the valuable lessons I've learned on leadership throughout my podcasting journey that might help us all along the way. These insights distilled into 6 core lessons, and I've crafted a compilation of clips from selected episodes to complement each of these lessons. Should you wish to go deeper into any of these topics, you will find convenient links to the corresponding clips in our show notes. So here you go, a love letter to you. Enjoy the listen. Dear Emma, Kiki, and listeners, may you always find and use your voice. So when I think about our first episode, I'm reminded how scary using our voice can be. The vulnerability can be very confronting, especially when showing up to share points of view with others who you don't know. But I've learned that when we stay connected to our purpose, our voice is clear, strong, and we are unstoppable. So, my dears, connect to yours. It's there now, just waiting to be found. Looking back, I see how far we've come to be at 100 episodes. We are working our mission that we put together, which is to challenge the status quo and help all of us lead. May you always challenge, question, and keep learning. We discovered the secret of being an excellent leader in knowing who we are and where we've come from, so we understand why we react or respond a certain way. We've had over 60 great guests, and I've read about 50 books to ground our episodes so that we better understand our emotions, presence, love, and kindness, trust ourselves, be inspired by women leading the way, and learn about organizations that are changing the world. There are so many great people in the world. May you always do the work to keep discovering who you are. We know we can be our own worst distressed Barbie, hoping the smart Barbie will save the day and not us. But we learned we need to tackle those habits, people-pleasing tendencies, and just trust ourselves so we lead the way. Oh, and you know that thing we always said in our family? Canny girls always do the extra credit. Forget that. Only do it if you have a genuine interest in doing it, not just to please somebody or to try and prove yourself to someone else. We also know that sometimes we need to be brave and courageous to take on the bully or to stand for others that can't. I hope you trust your intuition and not second guess yourself when you feel something is going on. May you always listen to that quiet voice, the one trying to tell you what's best for you. I've learned while doing this podcast that the greatest emotion to cultivate is gratitude. I'm so grateful to you, beautiful, smart, brilliant daughters, for being my trusted advisors, coming on the show time to time and helping me understand different generational perspectives of the topics we've taken on. You've brought such joy and fun to our episodes. You held my hand in the beginning, lifted me up when I needed it, and said, "Go fly, Mom," when it was time for me to do some solo episodes. I take such joy in hearing your perspectives on things and seeing in you your own wings to fly. No, not just fly, but you soar. And I am so proud of you. Oh, another thing to remember, to build your network along the way with mentors, sponsors, and people you work with who have your back and help you navigate the landscape. I have known such amazing women, and many of them are taking the podcast journey with us by listening and learning with us. May you find your peeps and take them on your life's journey. Oh, and one more thing, dear ones. May you always know that leadership can be fun, so laugh as much as you can. We want to talk about the one takeaway that we all got from this. Emma, do you want to start us off?
Sure. I think like it's one of those things that like I already knew previously, but it's just been like reaffirmed, is it's okay. Like walking away is also a form of, it's a valid form of communication. It's also a statement. Rejecting something is just as powerful as like trying to like do a confrontation. Especially because I think like when it comes to advocating for yourself and finding your own voice, like voice doesn't have to always be verbal. I think that's the takeaway for me today.
Kiki, anything else?
I think one of my takeaways is, maybe not like a new learning, but maybe just being like grateful to I think generations before me helping, kind of like be a mentor and just getting in the way for other Zoomers, other Gen Zers, because it's so important and just really helps us a lot. And I think that's for me.
I guess my takeaway is I've always been inspired by the women in this family about how creative they are and adventurous. I'm so proud of you girls. You're not girls, you're women. And,
that makes me so happy.
And it's just really great to see you succeeding and sticking up for yourself and embracing the vulnerability. And yes, like I'm starting to cry right now. So, it's a thing, but I think there is strength in vulnerability because you're willing to show your humanity. And I think I'm really excited for you all with this podcast because this is, I think, a discussion that across the generations of women who are leaders, who have examples of good leadership above them and who are being that hand down the ladder below them to the next generation. I think that's my takeaway, is how excited I am about this podcast for you all.
That quote that Brene talks about language and emotions. And she says, language is our portal to meaning making, connection, healing, learning, and self-awareness. Without accurate language, we struggle to get the help we need. We don't always regulate or manage our emotions and experiences in a way that allows us to move through them productively, and our self-awareness is diminished. Language shows us that naming an experience doesn't give the experience more power. It gives the power of understanding and meaning.
I hadn't really realized before reading the book, I hadn't really given emotions much thought. I knew I kind of wear my heart on my sleeve and I'm a pretty emotional person. But I found by using language more precisely, I could begin to see what different actions I could take. Mm-hmm. Things that I didn't realize about myself. You think you're being compassionate and you're actually being sympathetic. You're not connecting. You're actually distancing yourself from the person, and you think that you're actually doing the opposite. Love is an emotion that we're capable of feeling in many different contexts, from intimate partner relationships and family bonds to friends and pets. And I would add, with coworkers. So there you go. I thought Okay, good basis here. Step 1 in looking at leadership. And she also added to the definition, we cultivate love when we allow our most vulnerable and powerful selves to be deeply seen and known, and when we honor the spiritual connection that grows from that offering with trust, respect, and kindness. You know, I know for me, sometimes with people pleasing, I'm like unaware that I'm actually doing it.
Right. It's very automatic. And I think, it starts pretty young. We all have this kind of, it's in us, innate focus on others, or, when we're born, we have this dependency on others. And depending on what environment we grow up in, we might have gotten the message that in order to survive or keep things fun or think, have everything be okay and manage these relationships, you need to focus on the other people and what you can do to kind of mitigate any kind of thing. So this develops pretty early, and then you kind of repeat that in other relationships. And it could be so automatic without realizing that that's what you're doing, because the goal for a people pleaser is, what can I do to keep the peace, to calm things down? It's not about prioritizing yourself or what is, your own goals. It's all about everybody else. It depends. There's degrees, I think. You can still have a certain level of self and goals and priorities, but if somebody else is upset enough or loud enough, their needs or whatever they want might be more important to you than your own in those moments. We're born with this desire for individuality and togetherness. So we have that. But with pleasers, they lean more towards too much togetherness. Their behaviors are based on, what can I do to make this relationship? They put it all on themselves. What can I do to fit in with what my family thinks is best, or what my best friend wants, where she wants to go for dinner, or, they'll let me not rock the boat. Where other people might lean towards more individual, which might look like rebellious or going against the grain just because your family thinks a certain way or your friend. But really, self-will living is about balancing that. How can I still be my individual person, but also be part of a group without giving that up?
So hold on, because if you think you're a sensitive striver, you might want to cover your ears when she says this. To feel worthy, sensitive strivers try to capture self-esteem by chasing external validation, promotions, accolades, and approval. They believe unconsciously that if they could just put in more work, they'll feel good enough. So they work harder and longer in order to compensate for their perceived failings. Without inner stability, they're forced to gain confidence from sources outside themselves. Oh, God.
Uh-oh.
Really saw myself in that one. I had read this Corey Muscara. He did a post about, if you're given negative feedback, this is something you can say to yourself. Ugh, it hurts to hear this, but I know I can hold the discomfort. I can uncover the lesson. So in what ways can this feedback spark creative inspiration for my next step rather than trigger a spiral of self-doubt? And, he's got a book, Stop Missing Your Life. It's all about how to be deeply present in an unpresent world. And when he talks about just fear, and obviously that was something I was going through, he says that fear is a big reason we miss the fullness of our lives. It holds us back from living more creatively honest. What can open us up to all the possibilities life has to offer? Courage, trust, love. These are all important aspects of presence, but I don't think they're the opposite of fear. The opposite of fear is curiosity. Fear is the impulse to run away, and curiosity is the impulse to turn toward. Fear is the desire to close down, and curiosity is desire to expand and explore. Fear presupposes danger, and curiosity presupposes safety. And I thought, okay, let's do the review from a point and a place of curiosity. Like, what would that look like? What questions could I ask? And not from a place of defensiveness, from a point of being curious. Here's a bit more about the domains he outlines. The first one is self-awareness, which is knowing one's emotions. Recognize a feeling as it happens, and it's the keystone of emotional intelligence. People with greater certainty about their feelings are better pilots of their lives, having a surer sense of how they really feel about emotional decisions, from who to marry or what job to take. Brené Brown, in her book, The Gifts of Imperfection, offers us this. Sometimes our intuition or our gut tells us what we need to know. Other times it actually steers us toward fact-finding and reasoning. As it turns out, intuition may be the quiet voice within, but that voice is not limited to one message. Sometimes our intuition whispers, "Follow your instincts." Or other times it shouts, "You need to check this out. We don't have enough information." She also says, quote, "In my research, I have found that what silences our intuitive voice is our need for certainty. Most of us are not very good at not knowing. We like sure things and guarantees so much that we don't pay attention to the outcomes of our brain's matching process. For example, rather than respecting a strong internal instinct, we become fearful and look for assurances from others. Like, what do you think? Should I do it? Do you think it's a good idea? Or you think I'll regret it? What do? We start polling people because we don't trust our own knowing. And similar to Byron Katie, he states that behind every system of actions is a system of beliefs. And the more deeply a thought or action is tied to our identity, the more difficult it is to change it. Here's some examples. I'm not good with technology. I'm horrible at math. Good habits may make sense rationally, but if they're in conflict with your identity, you will fail to put them into action. He offers a two-step process to changing your identity. But first, he says, our identity emerges out of our habits. They are not the only action that build our identity, but by virtue of their frequency, they are usually the most important ones. We change bit by bit, day by day, habit by habit. We are continually undergoing micro-evolutions of the self. And the new identity requires new evidence. So he says, 1, decide the type of person you want to be. And 2, prove it to yourself with small wins. So when I retired, I knew there were 3 things I wanted. I wanted to keep learning, I wanted to be useful, and I wanted to have fun. And doing this podcast has checked all the boxes and rediscovered my voice along the way. And like Madeleine Albright said, it took me a long time to develop a voice. And now that I have it, I'm not going to be silent. So I'm not going away. being in gratitude, I just want to share a few things I've learned about this, that being in gratitude for me is an acceptance of what has happened in my life. And when I reflect on it and I see that it couldn't have been any other way, I'm happy. I find that I'm pretty contented and definitely grateful. And it's allowed me to be more in the present and let go of fear that I can see in the future. That practice has been definitely beneficial. And for those of you that have listened to this podcast, you've heard stories about some of the things that have happened in my life that have not so joyous. But you know, when I look on it now, they all got me to where I am today. That I can use my voice for good and talk to you. We are doing this episode because Yo Canny kind of threw down that I wouldn't know more of the Gen Zer slang than she would know of the boomer slang. And Emma, because millennials are so close to Gen Z, they have ganged up together to take on their mom.
How cruel.
I think so. And listeners, we're doing this because communication is a very important part of leadership. And we need to understand the slang that's going on so that we can listen and make sure that we understand what is being said. So that's why we're doing this episode. Okay. So if I don't know what the slang is, I'm wondering if we can make a request to use it in a sentence.
You can play by spelling bee rules.
Okay, we can do sentences if you want.
If I don't get it, because I'm the one who's probably going to be more at a disadvantage because boomer slang has been around for so much longer and probably more apart. You've heard me use it or you've picked it up along the way, which your millennial and Gen Z slang hasn't been out for as many years.
Mom, this sounds like excuses.
Okay, let's go for it. You guys go first. And I'll keep score.
All right.
I'll let Key take the reins on this one.
Yes.
Okay.
Girl, take the lead.
So your first phrase, these are like phrases. Some of them are just words, but this is a phrase. Caught in 4K. Caught in 4K.
How about 4K must be something about...
I can also use it in a sentence if you would like.
Yes, could I have a sentence, please?
You may have a sentence. Kiki got grapes from H Mart. And when she went to the kitchen to check on the grapes, Emma was caught in 4K snacking on them.
Oh, Emma, you would never do that, though. That's just...
They're not labels. How are they supposed to know?
So caught in 4K means that you are red-handed, like almost caught red-handed.
That's correct.
It's referencing 4K image resolution with cameras.
Like quality. Like you're seeing it in high quality. So you're caught in the highest quality possible. You're caught red-handed.
Okay. Caught in 4K.
She's writing it down.
I'm writing it down. Okay. Mine are going to be so easy for you. I started this podcast because I recently retired and had seen over the years women afraid to speak out and lead and then be criticized for doing so. Our goal is, girls, what is our goal?
Challenge the status quo and learn from other people's experiences, I think.
And I'd like for women to see themselves as leaders all the time, not just because they have a certain position. We hope that you'll leave inspired, laugh a little with us as we question the common sense about leadership, and provide insights that we hope you all can use. Thanks.
Thank you. Enjoy.
Thank Thank you for listening today, and we sure hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, please leave a comment where you listen to your podcast, tell a friend, join our public Facebook group, Girl Take the Lead, or visit our website, girltaketheleadpod.com. We also have a YouTube channel where your subscription would be appreciated, where you can see videos to go with the episodes. Once you're on YouTube, search at Girl Take the Lead. Our episode today was built on episode 98 with Millie, and I've heard it's inspired you to think about how you'll pass along your family traditions, rituals, and stories. I know it inspired me to do this episode. How about you? How might you pass along your wisdom and learning to others? Hey, also, we just sent our summer newsletter, and it has updates about podcasting, YouTube, and AI trends. If you didn't get it and would like to, please send me an email at yocanny.com, and I'll add you to the list. You know, what a journey you're taking with us. Thank you. Especially thank you to those that have listened to all 100 episodes. Thank you for your patience and sharing our tears and laughter. Who knew retirement could be so good? Oh, and remember, if you heard a clip and would like to hear the episode, the show notes have links to all of them. Next Tuesday, we'll post an interview with Donna Rubin to talk about her book, Speaking While Female, and we'll explore why it's been so hard for women to find their voices and speak in public over time. Please join us again. Thanks for being here. Talk to you soon. Bye.